Welcome to Successful Toy Podcast, where we shine a light on the positive side of every journey. Our platform is dedicated to celebrating the success stories and unique experience of people from all walks of life, regardless of their fame or background. Whether you're a well-known figure or just starting out, the Successful Toy Podcast is here to share your story and inspire other listeners with your achievements and insights. Join us as we explore a diverse range of topics and uplift voices that deserve to be heard. Everyone has a story to tell, and we're here to listen.
Hey y'all, hey, so I'm back. I have an interview. So I'm gonna let her introduce herself because y'all know me, I be messing up people introduction and stuff. So I'm gonna pass the mic to you.
Well, Toy, I'm really excited to be here. Thanks so much. And hi, everyone. Good to be chatting with you. My name is Danielle Shea, and I'm a healing coach for sexual abuse survivors. I help survivors, both male and females, all over the world, create healthy boundaries, build unwavering confidence, and develop their support system.
Period. I love it. When I was reading your bio, I was like, ooh, this is gonna be good. But it's so crazy. Like, I meet people that if you see them, you won't even think they went through that type of stuff. And I'd be like,
look at me.
And then when
I'm in a yellow dress, I'm short and blonde, and people assume that my happiness and my optimism comes from a very privileged life, which it has. Like, oh my gosh, I have so much privilege in my life. And also, I am this happy and this optimistic, and I help my clients live a joyful and fulfilled life because I didn't want to be here at one point. Like, I know what it was like to walk through hell and back. And I didn't walk through hell and back to live a mediocre life.
Exactly.
So 100%.
And I done been through that before. And when I tell people, when I go on other podcasts and I mention that, or if they read my book, they be like, dang, you went through that. Like the type of personality you have. And cause my mouth, like I talk shit. Okay. So they be like, I just can't see you. Yes. I'm talking about, I done been to where I felt like the only way out of the relationship, if I was to kill myself or put him in jail.
Yeah.
So I got out by putting his ass in jail because I went back to take my life.
I was like, well, you're here, so nothing happened. You getting paper.
Don't know what that bum doing, but look at me. So let's get into these questions. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it. I'm having fun.
Okay, let's get into it. How can we create safe spaces for women to share their experience and support for each other?
Yeah, I think that the first thing is, how are you a safe space for other people? Right. And so if we're looking out on how do we create safe spaces in our community, it's, well, first, how are you creating a safe space in your home or within your friendships or even within yourself? Are you a safe space for you? Because if you're not a safe space for you, how can you show up and be a safe space for
somebody else?
And so ways that we do that, I mean, I think we're creating a safe space right here, right now, right? Like I showed up and gave some information. You showed up with vulnerability and shared that. And so we can sit here and look at each other and go, oh my gosh, that's another human. And now we have something in common. I feel like I can take a breath.
Right.
But when we
have you ever, not to interrupt you before you get, have you ever went on like a platform and like they never been through it, so it's like, how can they relate to me?
100%. And
because you know how some people
go ahead
because you know how some people, they be like, oh, I can't relate to that, so I don't know. But it's like, okay, but I'm telling you about it.
Yeah. And my clients, they feel the same way, right? Because you can go to therapy, you can go have a life coach, you can go and there's so many ways to heal and so many ways to experience life. But my clients come to me because I've been through it. Like they can I can sit across from them, but that's not what's happening. Like they're sitting next to me because I'm going, yeah, I've been there. And like, let's walk this together. And so that's probably the number one reason people hire me in the first place, because they're like, I've
Right.
done that and it didn't work because they didn't get it. Because there is this thing that only another survivor can understand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so just that safe space question is like, can you create that humanness? Can you be real and vulnerable? Can you show up for people? And then exactly what you just said is, I'm telling you about it. So listen. Like if you listen, if you nod, if you respond, if you are a compassionate person, you can create that safe space. And know that you don't have to be the only safe space. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't need to know what to say, but you can be like, your story is hitting me so hard. I don't even know what to say. And just that vulnerability of you saying, I'm here for you and I'm listening and I don't have the answers. Like sometimes that's because they haven't been listened to in the first place.
I tell people that all the time. When people call you to talk and vent, they don't always need a response. Sometimes we just need that listening ear. You don't have to listen to respond. Like, no, just take it in what I'm saying. Just listen to me. Just let me rant. Or just let me vent. Or just let me get it off my chest. Whatever you want to call it. Just let me do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to say nothing, especially if you ain't been through it before. So I'm just telling you my story. And then maybe I can help you avoid the signs, because the signs be there, but we just be overlooking them.
Yep. I saw the red flag and I went, damn, that's sexy. You know, like,
Oh, that's so cute. It's toxic. Ooh, yeah.
I like
They
it.
love me. They love me because they beat on me. We were so stupid. Oh, we were stupid.
Yeah, but we can laugh about it and we can grow from it because we're like, oh, we've been there. And then also, again, like you said, be that for other people and go, so here's what not to do. You're welcome. I did it already. I did the things. You don't have to.
Yep. What are some essential wellness and self-care practice that you recommend for maintaining mental and physical health?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Okay, so the first thing that my clients and I do together is I tell them to do these 4 things. This is before we do really anything together. And sometimes even before we start working together is, can we get these 4 basics down? And the 4 basics are drink water. You've heard all of this before. Take a walk outside 20 minutes every day. Oh, balloons apparently.
Okay, balloons. All right.
The third thing is sleep, right? It's good for our hormones. It's good. Like, we're not machines. We need to sleep. And then breathe. Can you do those 4 things? And the very first week that we're together, I just say, just notice it. Like, don't even adjust. Don't even change. Just notice. Because what that does is it starts to get them into this mindset of mindfulness and of, oh, I'm actually reconnecting to that body. And it's a very subtle way of building that mind, body, soul connection, which people who've experienced any type of physical or sexual abuse, we just don't have that anymore. We unlearned it the second that the abuse happened, because to know ourselves is the thing that feels like it's putting us in danger. So we have to unlearn that. So can you go for a walk outside? That's getting the body moving forward. That's literally putting the body and mind in a path of forward momentum. It helps you unwind things. It helps you think about things. It helps you go, there is a future. So that's a start to building some hope as well. Drinking water. Like, we just need to do it and none of us do it enough. So just can you drink water? But more importantly, can you say, I'm thirsty right now. I'm going to give myself the thing that it needs. Sleep when you're tired, wake up when you're not, right? Can we start getting out of that phase of you're oversleeping or you're undersleeping? And then breathing. Oh my gosh. Do you think about breathing? No, of course not.
No.
But that's a beautiful thing that our body does. And also there's this untapped tool that none of us use. I mean, it's a big like buzzword, right? Like breath work is super big right now in all kinds of like wellness spaces. But if you can just get the basics down of like, I'm taking in a deep breath and again, reconnecting to your body, those are all the very small, simple steps that get you to living that joyful and fulfilled life, because it's not an epiphany that's going to change your life. It's very tiny steps that you take along the way.
And you have to do it yourself. Do you hear her? Do it yourself. Not nobody else do it for you. Those are not things that someone can do for you. But when you say sleep, I'm starting to do that, what you said. I'm starting to, when I'm sleepy, don't fight it, go to sleep. When my body is ready to get up, that's when I get up.
Yeah.
Even though I set my alarm at 9:30, but when I wake up at 9:30, I don't get out the bed until about 10, 11.
Yeah. And
so I done started doing that.
It's those habits that you're like, okay, some days you need to rest and you need to lay in bed till 10:30 and give yourself that time. But are you making an excuse or are you listening to your body? And I think but I think that for many people, when you're starting off on this journey, or if it's your first kind of like tapping into wellness, there's people who go, well, I mean, if I just didn't if I just ate whatever I wanted, I'd eat 20,000 chocolate bars. Great. Maybe you do that for the first week, but then you're not going to feel great. And the more you listen to your body, the more you go, okay, that means that I'm going to do the next right thing for me. And that's when you start making change.
And you know what the crazy part is? Like, I'm not going to even lie. I just feel like, back in my younger days, I say my 20s and my 30s and probably my early 40s, like I don't even know how to put it. When my body, I never understood. Well, my body probably used to tell me that I need water, but I probably overlooked it. But now, like, my body lets me know when I need water.
Yeah.
And it's like, this just started happening or this been happening? Because why I never noticed it before?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I like that.
And we can
not a water drinker.
And we can all start tapping into that. And our body is constantly talking to us, constantly. But you tapped on something so important. Like, why couldn't I hear it before? Well, because we're taught not to hear it. If you have experienced trauma, you again are taught, whether it's from the trauma or from people not believing you or whatever, you go, oh, well, if I tried to listen to my body and then something horrible happened, or I tried to speak up and tell my truth or tell my emotion, and then no one believed me. So you just keep shutting down. And it's this cycle. So it is always talking to you, but does it feel safe enough for you to listen? And oftentimes the answer is no. And so you need those tools to be able to make that happen.
Got you. So breaking it down, says, I have been hard-headed and not listening, but I am starting to listen to it more, because the first thing she said, she was like, yes, my body is saying sleep. Yeah. And then Self-Made Nat said, definitely told you water has different tastes. Yes, she definitely taught me that, because like I said, I was not a water person and I just used to think all water is nasty, but now I literally can taste the difference in water. I thought all water tastes the same. But now I literally can taste the difference in water.
It's a little water.
She did taught me that. Yeah. And she said, that's the first thing that reveals a person that drinks water. Yeah. Because I thought all water tastes the same.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I don't want this. Why is they putting it in different bottles? Why is they different names when all of it tastes the same? And it really don't. It really don't. So the next question, how can women empower themselves and others in their communities? Yeah, I think we kind of spoke on that.
We did a little bit. I think I wanted to add one more thing is like,
okay,
again, are you listening to yourself? Are you asking for the help that you need? Don't try to help other women. Live your life. Live your life and be the example simply by living. The best way I've ever shown people how to change their life is simply by changing mine.
I love that. I love that. We're going to go into a quick break. Y'all marinate on what she just said. If y'all have any questions, drop them in a comment. When we come back, we'll answer them. We'll be right back. So the song I'm going to get into is called You're a Woman.
What have we done? We treat women so cold. Treat them like they're nothing when she's worth more than gold. Women to me are like diamonds, I love the way you shine. The most precious treasure, I love the way you shine. I see your smiling face, girl, with your style and grace. Your spirit fills the room, gives me chills when you enter in. You change the atmosphere, your heart is so sincere. Your love is pure, my lady. You hold my heart with care. I see your smile and praise it. It looks so good on you. You're valuable, express it. Don't let another take it from you. Your heart is good, just love it. Your soul connects, never broken. You're a woman, you're divine with confidence. Elegant, you're compassionate. You have a giving heart with love that surrounds you. You're divine, you're on your grind. You're refined, divine. You're a woman, you're a woman, you're a woman, you're a woman. Your strength, your poise, we honor. Your love so sweet and fire. Support a life that's story. Bury the pain you carry. One man I love and praise you. I've tied your heart with true love. Appreciate sacrifice, never broken. You're a woman. Give you your flowers. One day we honor. Celebrate your love. Hold it tight, not fly away. You're in a class by yourself. Beautiful to yourself. You're a woman. You're a woman. You're a woman. I see your smile and praise it. It looks so good on you. You're valuable, express it. Don't let another take it from you. Your heart is good, just love it. Your soul connects, never broken. You're a woman. You're strong.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. That song is so powerful, man. That song is so powerful. It's so motivating. I just love it. I don't be want to cut it off. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't want to get it off. I love that song. It's so powerful, man.
I just sat here like listening to every lyric, being like, okay,
I'm back
yeah,
here like this.
yeah.
I'm a woman. Okay. Self-made Nat said, be a leader, not a follower. Of course. Breaker the Silence said, yes, I agree. Everything starts with you. You have to change yourself before you can change yourself. Period. I love that. So the next question is, what strategies do you struggle? What happened, God? Who's struggling? What strategies do you suggest for breaking the cycle of trauma and fostering healing?
Yeah. So I have a master class where I talk about the 5 symptoms that my 5 most common symptoms that sexual abuse survivors face, and then turn it into what I call the cycle of trauma, because all of those symptoms keep you in that cycle of trauma. So negative self-doubt or negative self-talk, right? Leads you not feeling sexy, not feeling confident, and it's just this perpetual cycle. And so how we get out of that is we just can you look and be like, oh, I'm in a cycle right now. There's patterns happening. Something's going on and I don't like it. boom, you've already stepped out of the cycle. Now, from there, you have to make a decision and go, what do I do about it? Am I going to repeat the same patterns and I'm going to do the same things over and over again? That's just going to put you back in the cycle. Or what am I going to do differently? So is that asking for help? Is that getting a coach? Is that getting a therapist? And this is for like entrepreneurship. This is for anything. If you keep acting the same, you're going to get the same. So you got to start acting different. What are those actions you're going to take that are going to feel different? And it doesn't need to feel big. In fact, I want it to feel like it's the easiest thing in the world, because the law of attraction tells us that we need to, when it feels easy and when it feels just like, well, obviously, then that's the thing that's just going to come right up to you and be like, hi, I'm here for you now. Right. And that's how we start evolving our energy, changing the type of person that we're showing up in the world. So what are the small steps that you're taking? Maybe it's those 4 things. I have a client who drinks a lot of energy drinks. And my thing was, okay, great. I don't even want you to cut out your energy drinks. Just, can you add the equivalent amount of water to 1 energy drink? So I just want you to add something. Don't even take away. A week later, they're like, oh, I'm down to 2 energy drinks a day now, because I didn't ask them to do something big. So then they went like, well, what else can I do? So your healing doesn't need to be profound from the get-go. It's gonna get profound. You're gonna change your life. You're gonna look back and go, holy crap, I did that. But make it accessible for you. So the question that I want everyone to ask themselves is, when you're deciding on what's the action I'm going to take, ask yourself, well, what feels accessible right now in this exact moment? And then just ask yourself that over and over and over and over again until you feel like, okay, now we're taking actual like steps forward. I'm not inching forward. I've now taken a full stride.
And it's crazy that you say when you want different, you got to act different and talk different. That was the confirmation for me, because yesterday I ran across a video, and this girl was saying on Instagram how when you want something and you want to achieve something, you have to act different. You have to talk different. You have to know you want it. Like, show yourself that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
So when you said that, like, you got to act different, you have to talk different if you want something, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I've been doing too. I've kind of been acting different, talking different. And I told myself, I cuss a lot. I cuss a lot.
Me too.
A lot. So I told myself that I was going to slow down.
Yeah.
But I got to replace it with something.
Got to replace it with something. A good gosh, golly darn. I just don't feel like an adult when I say that.
I swear to God, I'm like, I feel grown like a kid. Like, oh. How do you manage anxiety and stress in your daily life, and what tips can you share with others?
Yeah, I think the first thing is knowing that everything is a choice. And I get a lot of hate for this, because as someone who's experienced depression, as someone who's experienced anxiety, it doesn't feel like a choice. And when it's so overwhelming and intense, it's not. It really isn't. But there's also things that we do that can be choices that can help manage that. For example, what we were talking about before, it is a choice to stay in bed till 11. If you know that staying in bed till 11 makes you feel like a POS, and then that makes you start this snowball of poor habits that you're trying to change, and you know that that leads you to a depressive spiral, can we make a different choice when it's easier to make that different choice? Because it's not going to be easy when the car is going 60 miles an hour. So make the choice before you even get into the car. Now, How do we do that? We have to start, again, listening to our bodies. What does my body need right now? Is today a rest day? Great. If today is a rest day and you're making that decision, then you staying in bed till 11 doesn't make you a POS. It makes you intuitive. So now you start to change that self-talk. I needed to do this today. And then you can catch yourself when that starts being a lie. Oh, I needed to do this today. Oh, I needed to do this today. Oh, I needed to do this today. Well, do you feel like a POS? Okay, then we need to start making different choices. There's so many different things that we can do. I think that choice is one of them. And I think that choice is something that is a neglected topic when it comes to mental health, because we make decisions every day. And they're hard to make. Being a human is hard. It just is. And we want to give ourselves a cop-out for not making hard choices, but we have to every day. So let's say you're doing that and it still is blown up and there's a bunch of anxiety and there's a bunch of depression, because that's going to happen. What are some simple things that we can do? Because all of the tools that I want to provide, I want them to be just like little digestible nuggets. Box breathing is great. Stop yourself in your tracks. 4 counts in through the nose, hold at the top of the breath, 4 counts out through the mouth, hold at the bottom. Do that 4 times. If that feels too inaccessible, sit there, 10 deep belly breaths. If I know when I am off my meditation game or I'm off my mindfulness game, if I can't even make myself sit there for 10 breaths, I get to breath 6 and I'm like, I have to do those dishes, right? We all get there. So can we just breathe? It gets your mind off something else. It gets your mind off the anxiety of if you really intentionally focus deeply on the breath. There's other things that you can do. The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 memories technique. 5 things that you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste, right? All of these things, what they're doing is bringing you back to the present moment, reconnecting you to your body. And when you can start feeling that intuition, when you can start making those decisions based off of how your body feels, I have noticed that there has been a decline in that anxiety and depression within myself and also within my clients, because we're not making up stories for why we feel that way. We're just allowing the feelings to actually sit there and happen. And a lot of times we have these big emotions because we aren't able to process the small ones.
Whew. I like that because that was me.
And none of it is easy to hear either.
It's not.
You would have told me this 7 years ago on my deep healing, I would have flipped you off and walked away. Don't cuss it.
I'm like,
yeah. And hey, doing this work makes me have to show up for myself even bigger than I've ever had in my life, because I have to be the example. I have to be the leader for my clients. I have to go out there and live the joyful and fulfilled life. Otherwise, I'm a fraud. But also,
just I'm gonna speak on something. If I ain't doing it myself, how I'm gonna speak on it?
Right? How can you?
Totally get it. Yeah. Why is it important to be your authentic self, and how can one cultivate authenticity in their life?
Yeah, we definitely talked about that first part, right? Be the leader, because that's going to allow other people to go, oh, if they can do it, then so can I. And you showing up in your most authentic self is the only true way to really save people. And I believe that to my core as someone who is a healer, right? I can give you all of the tools, but ultimately it's up to you. So the best thing I can do is show up the way that I want to show up, and show up in the way that that allows you to go, oh, there's the playbook. I'll just watch her. Because if she can do it, I can, right? If one person has done anything, that means that it can be duplicated. How can you live your most authentic self is Do you know yourself? Trauma puts us in this state of being fearful of who we are, being fearful of our demons, and our shadow self, because they feel so overwhelming and so powerful, and they're real for sure. And so how do we, you have to confront them. You have to integrate them. You have to love them because they're part of who you are, and they make you that beautiful, incredible, authentic person that you are, that the world needs.
Right.
Right? And so, do you know yourself? Journaling? Oh my gosh. Meditation, these self-awareness, going for the walk every day, you're going to learn a lot about yourself. The more habits that you adjust, the more that you listen to your body, listen to your intuition, and really start to understand who you are. And also what that does is not only does it allow you to live your most authentic self, your most favorite self, your best self, however you want to call it, it also allows you to make decisions quicker, which then you're like, oh, I just am who I am. You stop apologizing for who you are, but you also call yourself out when you are the problem. Oh, I didn't want to show up that way. I'm going to apologize so authentically. And then you're able to resolve issues quicker within yourself or within your relationships. So those are other reasons why it's important as well. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question before we go into the commercial break? For some reason, like you said, journaling, and that just keeps sticking out to me. And it's so crazy because journaling just keep being around me. Like a lot of people that came on my platform before you talk about journaling. Then I have friends in the winner circle, they talk about journaling. Can you explain when they saying journaling, and you when you're saying journaling, what is the meaning of journaling? Like, are we just talking about we writing down random things, or is certain things that we focusing on when we writing in our journals?
Yeah, I think that it can be anything. And I think that this is such a great question. I get this a lot of like, well, how do I even start? Am I doing it right? I get that with meditation a lot too. Because it is kind of, again, like this fad that's happening, right? So when something becomes a buzzword, we're just like, okay, we get it. Stop talking.
Right.
But it can be whatever. Not doing it. It can be whatever it needs to be for you. So I have so many journaling prompts on my podcast. I have full episodes that are just journaling prompts. And then I like play music so you can sit there and just like have the time to do it. Journaling prompts are great if you don't know where to start. Free writing is also great. Like I will just have my journal right here. Like some things are me writing out just notes for myself. This is Managing Stress After Sexual Assault, episode 6 of Danielle Shea podcast. There's some notes right there. And that was, oh my gosh, that was a year ago now. I have things in here of like, I like just complaining until I get to a point where I go, oh, I know what the issue is now. I have things in here of like things I want to manifest. I have things in here of, I went to Costa Rica last week and I just journaled every day of exactly what I did because I wanted to remember it. And then I did something super powerful. I realized that I wasn't showing up the way that I wanted to. And so I have written here, I realized that I wasn't doing that because I'm worried about being a burden. And so it's taking me a few minutes before my next encounter with people that I need to just like build up the confidence. And so I'm asking myself here, like, where did that come from? Because I'm a very confident person. Yeah. So why is it different in this situation, in this setting? And like 3 pages later, I had the answer. So I love journaling because for me, it's a way it slows my mind down so I can actually hear what the thoughts are saying, because when your mind is going a million miles a minute, you just feel like crap, but you don't necessarily know why. I have to actually write it down. It makes me, because my hand can't keep up with my brain. So then it slows me down, and then it goes, oh, this thing isn't so scary anymore. Or, oh, I actually wasn't that worried about it. Or now that I see it on paper, it's just silly. And your perspective is rich about it. So that's why I love journaling, but it doesn't need to be anything. Again, ask yourself the question, what feels accessible?
All right, I guess I start journaling.
And also, if it doesn't feel good, like, what's your thing? Voice note it.
I don't know.
I pretend to give TED Talks. I will straight up if I'm having a big emotion, I will get up, I will walk to a mirror, and I will pretend that I'm talking to an audience fully alone in my apartment and give a TED Talk. That's the thing that worked before journaling. When I started writing again, like writing books and articles, I voice noted it. Yeah.
I think what made, because when I was little, I used to, you know how little girls had diaries. So I used to write everything in my diary. And I think when my mother invaded my privacy, I was like, it's not safe to write anything down. So I think that's kind of what got me out of it too.
I think you just had a brain blast right there. So the question that I ask my clients is like, where's the fear coming from? And most of the time the answer is like, I don't know. So then we go through the 5 whys exercise. Okay, well, why aren't you doing this? And why is that? Why is that? Why is that? But you've already reached your reasoning. So now that you have the answer, okay, privacy, the invasion of privacy was my issue. So now how do you set up your space that you feel like it is safe to do that and that it is private? So even if you're a listener and you are having this issue and you live alone, maybe you throw a lock on that diary. Like maybe that's the thing that's helpful for you, that you're just like, okay, here's this barrier.
I really don't like when someone go through my stuff. I hate it with a passion. I hate it with a passion. If I don't touch your stuff, don't touch mine. I hate it with a passion. And now I see why I'm like that, because my privacy got invaded when I was a kid, trying to write in my journal on everything I did that day, whether it was good or bad.
It should be.
So we're gonna go. Yeah, we're gonna go on a quick break and we'll be right back. And y'all, if y'all journal, like, let me know what y'all be journaling about. Not y'all business, but let us know in the comments what y'all be journaling about. But we're gonna get into this song called So Ancient.
Hey. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Let's go. Ooh, yeah. No Mashi. Ooh, yeah. Daddy. Ooh, yeah. The winning team. Ooh, yeah. So anxious. Ooh, yeah. And the party so wasted. Ooh, yeah. All these clubs can't taste it. Ooh, yeah. All these blunts need face it. Ooh, yeah. So anxious. Ooh, yeah. And the party so wasted. Ooh, yeah. All these clubs can't taste it. Ooh, yeah. All these blunts need face it. Ooh, yeah. Chill at the party, fucking a thotty, now she clean on me. Ooh, it's getting gnarly, sauce at the party, drinks is spilling on me. Ooh, flex so hard, just leave me a taste. Pull up a Bentley, don't need a rave. Cross any niggas, put them on skates. Diamonds splash, I'm feeling like clay. I don't know, I forgot. Last time I remember you who took this shot. Now we sitting here thinking in the plot. My savage just walked in with blunts all in the spot. So anxious, and the party so wasted. All these clubs can't taste it. All these blunts need face it. So anxious, and the party so wasted. All these clubs can't taste it. All these blunts need face it. At this point I can't feel shit. Drinks I feel it. I appoint the whole building. The field is shameless. Smoke a joint just to kill it. My buzz is building. Disappoint shawty's feelings. I had to kill him. Walk in the party, I drop the location. Moving slow-mo cause I'm stuck in the matrix. Solo the cup with the Henny, no chase. Watch your homeboy cause he making me anxious. Yo, so the boy created the move. Boss in the bitch, they throwing it too. Quit all that stare, go make a move. At the end of the night, she back in my room. Got the club jumping, I ain't never running. Ain't talking Phoenix, every rapper steady stunning. Thugging by my lonely, I be steady gunning. I'm a walking check, stepping in my Nike runners. I don't know where the blunt was passed do. Any minute I'ma stumble to the bathroom. Here we go, tighten up, don't mean to ask you. If you put an ass shot, then I'll match you. So anxious, and the party so wasted. All these bugs can't taste it. All these boys need face it.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that was So Anxious by Scoop. And this episode has been brought to you by Shea Apparel. And you can follow them on Instagram at shea.apparel. So let's get back into it. What advice do you have for telling your survival story in a way that is empowering and healing?
Yeah. This is like a super personal to each person response. And that is not a question, or that's not a response that you want to hear. But it really is like, again, what feels accessible to you and telling that story. So I can tell you from my experience and then some things that have helped some of my clients. So when I first started this business, I sat my iPhone in front of me and I just talked to it. And I just told my full story as raw as I felt like I could in that moment. And I realized that I had never told the full thing before. So it was like a 45-minute long video, and you can watch it. It's on my YouTube channel. And in that video, I remember recording it and being like, oh shit. And then this happened. Oh yeah. And then this thing too. Oh, wait. Actually, let me go back in time because this happened before that. Being like, wow, okay, got it. And I think that when you're first starting your deep healing, which is like when you decide I need help and I'm going to do something about this, you kind of just tell pieces of the story and you don't really like intermingle them together. And I definitely do that as well. You know, in my masterclass, I tell a very truncated version. If I give speeches, it's a truncated version. Really just the version that is going to allow people to go, oh, hey, there's a human and she gets it. And so if you're telling it on like a platform, right, then there's like the writing that you got to do and you got to make it pretty and everything so you can really reach your audience. If it's your first time telling your story, it doesn't need to be pretty. It doesn't need to sound nice. You don't need to know the right words. If you're talking to me, and oftentimes I am the very first person that anyone's ever told their stories to, like my DMs are like, I've never told anybody this, but, and then I'll get a story. And like they're so raw and so powerful and just like I'm always in awe of the gift of vulnerability that I get from my clients or even from like people who I will never work with, but I'm just the one that they tell their story because they're just like, I just need to tell somebody. So talk therapy is amazing. There's a time and a place for it. And I think the best time and place for it is if you've never actually verbalized it, because I think verbalization can be one of the first ways for you to actually move it out of your body. So yeah, how you tell your story, I think it depends on your audience. I think it depends on who you're talking to. And that is if it's going to be a polished version or not. But it's also like, how is your audience going to be able to hear this? So if you're talking to your best friend who's got your back for everything, then she can hear all of it. But if you're talking to someone who made a joke about sexual abuse and you want to let them know that that wasn't okay, they don't deserve your full story. So you can be like, remind me why that's funny and don't make jokes around me like that because I've experienced that. And like, maybe that's how it ends, or you don't even have to give them that. Right. So it depends on your audience. It depends on what the purpose of the story is. And also, I just want to add this. I think we tell survivors all the time, like, tell your story, tell your story, tell your story. Honey, you don't have to. Like, it is not.
You tell it when you're ready. You tell it when you're ready.
you're ready. And it is not your responsibility to be someone's puff piece or hero
Guinea
or
pig. Guinea
anything.
pig.
It is not. You protect that story with as much love and grace that you need. And you tell people who are deserving of hearing that story. Now, I tell people all over the world all the time. But when I first started my healing journey, I didn't tell a soul until it was clear that I needed help and I needed therapy. And then I only told people who told me their story first. And I'd be like, we always find each other. And it, like, I waited for the safe spaces to be created for me. And that's when I was able to tell my story. Now I've done enough healing and I've created this platform where my job is to create that safe space. So I have to show up first. And so it depends where you're at in your healing journey. Who are you talking to? How do you want to say it? And you don't have to. You don't have to.
And it's so crazy when you say tell your story. Like, that was me when I wrote my memoir. Like, I just wrote it. I didn't care how it, like, I mean, I don't care how it went, but I just wrote it. I went back and put step by step. And then when I was reading it, and I'm like, oh my God. Because a lot of stuff, I felt like I just swept it under the rug, ignored it, forgot about it until I wrote it. And I was like, damn, I did go through that. But damn, this how I handled that. Oh my God, I used to be like this. Is this why that happened to me? Because I was like this. Stop thinking. But baby, don't never say it's because of how you was or how you was carrying yourself that people should do that to you. It's not.
No.
No.
Other people's poor decisions were not your fault.
So do not beat yourself up. Do not blame yourself. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. How can women develop unwavering confidence in themselves and their abilities?
Yeah. I love talking about confidence. I'm not getting too excited, so I make coherent thoughts here. I mean, like anything that we've talked about today, and I'm a broken record, I understand. You got to start small. What feels accessible? All of the things that are going to help you heal are the things that are going to help you build habits. Confidence is a skill. Confidence, anyone can learn how to be confident. Anyone can be confident. It is a skill that you practice. It is not something you're born with. It's not something inherent. You just, and I think that people, they hear that and they go, oh, but like my kid was super confident, or I was really confident as a kid. I'm like, yeah, but you were also praised for that confidence, I'm sure. Because if you weren't, then you would have acted different, because you need to feel safe as a child. So you act in ways that are only going to allow you to feel safe and provided for. Right. So for me, I was really confident as a kid because my mom was just like, heck yeah, she was a single mom. She was like, you're going to be independent. You're going to do these things. And I have a very different viewpoint of the world than my friends who grew up being taught how to fear things, or that they always had to have an adult around to be able to do that or show up in a way. Right. Because my mom was always there and like watching and supervising, but I felt like I could make decisions and do things on my own. And she instilled that kind of confidence in me. After my trauma, though, I mean, all of that training was out the window, right? So I had to learn how to rebuild my confidence over again. And again, was I a safe space for myself? Well, the answer was no. I wanted to hurt myself. I wanted to take my own life. I was abusing drugs. I was abusing alcohol. I was abusing my body. And, I was not nice to myself. So because of all of that, like I had to act different to get different results, right?
Yeah.
So I had to get help. I had to get therapy. I had to get accountability. Getting a therapist, getting a coach, it is not about like working through what's wrong with you, because nothing is wrong with you. It's about, here's someone who is a third party who really doesn't have to give a shit about me at all, but I'm showing up and they're my accountability. And confidence, I think, is something that is bred with you constantly showing up for yourself time and time and time again. And so accountability is a big piece of that. So get someone to be your accountability buddy, and then be honest. I showed up for myself today. Celebrate the win. I didn't show up for myself today in the way that I wanted to. I'm just letting you know, don't beat yourself up about it. Because confidence is also learning how to like be nice to yourself again.
Yeah.
Mistakes every day. But I don't let a mistake put me down on the ground and bury me anymore like it used to, because I go, oh, I made a mistake. Well, I can unmake it.
Yeah.
If I'm not afraid to make the mistake, right, then I'm also learning how to not be afraid of a consequence that might come from it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also making sure I'm thinking through the consequences of I can show up, or I can reverse this, or I can do things to make myself feel safe. So confidence, what feels accessible, small steps. Do you feel safe? Get yourself an accountability partner.
Period. I love my therapist.
Shout out.
Can you explain the benefits of breath work and meditation, and how can these practices be integrated into a daily routine? I think you spoke on that earlier, though.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, you spoke on that earlier.
Mm.
What steps can individuals and communities take to prevent sexual violence and support survivors?
Believe them first. We can't change anything if we're telling the people who have actively experienced it that we don't believe them and that we're not here to protect them. Right. So that's just going to perpetuate the cycle of things happening over and over and over again, because then perpetrators go, oh, well, I'm just going to get off with my hand slapped. Right. Yeah. I interviewed someone for my podcast for season 2, which is coming out later this year. And their daughter experienced sexual abuse, and their perpetrator got let go with a slap on the wrist. And so they said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change the law. And so they and their family are actively petitioning and changing laws in their state to make sure that doesn't happen to anybody else.
Right.
But the only reason that that's happening is because the dad believed his daughter, and went, no, like, unacceptable. We're doing something about this. And he used his anger in a way that was actually benefiting society. So believe survivors first and foremost. How I think that, it goes back to how are we creating safe spaces for women? How are we creating safe spaces for survivors? I want to say this right here too. Believe the men that tell you. Yep. Because, honey, if he's telling you that something happened, he feels safe enough to be able to admit that truth. Right. And men have a lot harder time being able to come forward. And I know this because 85% of my clientele is men. So believe them too. How do you create safe spaces? Like, how do you prevent sexual violence? It's not going to be something that happens overnight. But again, are you creating us up in safe spaces? How are you raising your children? How are you raising the people in your community and going, this is how we treat people? Right. How are you holding them accountable? When someone makes a joke that is not funny, that's sexist or racist or homophobic or, whatever, what are you doing in response to those jokes? Right. But here's the caveat here for everything that I'm saying on how do we prevent this is, do you feel safe enough to speak up? Do you feel safe enough to take action? Because if the answer is no, don't put yourself in danger. Grab somebody else. I'm the person, or I was the person in my workplace that if something happened, they came to me because Danielle doesn't take any BS and she's going to say something because she knows her rights and she knows that she is supposed to be protected in this workplace. But other people didn't feel safe enough to do that. So they would come to me. Right. So are you the leader? Are you showing up that you can be the voice for people? And then do you go to other people when you need backup, when you need their voice as well? Yeah. So no solutions there for you. A lot of questions and mostly like, again, how are you showing up? Creating that safe space. Yeah.
I need to hear all this stuff. But I'm going to turn the platform over to you so you could tell the audience how to find you, where your podcast at, how to book you. Girl, just give them all your business, okay? Without giving them your business.
Thank you so much. Wow, I've had a really great time talking with you. Okay, so my name is Danielle Shea. I'm a healing coach for sexual abuse survivors. You can find me at my website, which is danielleshea.blog, DanielleShea.blog. On there, you'll find some free resources and some free goodies. You can also check out the Danielle Shea podcast. We have 3 episodes a week. We do meditations and journalings. We have interviews just like this and just a lot of healing content. So you can go out there and live your most joyful and fulfilled life. You can also follow me on Instagram at Danielle Shea blog, same spelling. Slide into my DMs. I absolutely love that. And I would just love to hear from you, especially if you listen to the show. Just what was your takeaway? What was the thing that you enjoyed the most about this show?
Period. I love it. Don't you go nowhere, but they got to get the hell out of here. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the shares. Thank you for the likes. Again, make sure you guys follow her. Go watch her podcast. Download it. Do whatever y'all going to do with it. Do it. Do it. Because it's positive. And I think I'm going to start back journaling a little bit. I ain't going to make no promises. Just
a
little tiny bit.
Cool.
So I want to say thank you guys, and we will see you guys in the next episode.